So, good morning, everybody. It is the 1st of November, 2022. It is Tuesday, November 1st. It is about 7:54 a.m. in the morning. Hope you all had a safe and good Halloween with your family and friends. But I wanted to come on here because I went on to Facebook a little bit ago, and I saw something that Alex put out, and apparently, it seems that Tony Khan, despite the fact that they are parting ways, most definitely with CM Punk through a potential buyout or something. We're not too sure about that yet, but despite the fact that it definitely looks like they're, parting ways with CM Punk and the Elite are on their way back, and with talks that the investigation is pretty much over, according to numerous sources like Dave Meltzer and Alvarez, those that are kind of close to the whole AEW elite camp, if you will, at least have ties to them, have reported that Tony Khan is still basically going to go radio silent when it comes to this. Yeah. In other words, Tony Khan's not going to let anybody know exactly what happened with, the Elite and CM Punk and all, and everyone else involved. Despite the fact that most of the wrestling fan base, even those that, support AEW, attend AEW events, watch it religiously, on a daily, kind of a bi-daily, weekly basis, even though they, along with everybody else, knows basically what happened, through various details, it seems that Tony Khan, wants to basically not let anything be, really known. He doesn't really want to come out and say anything that's going to, I assume, put more of a black eye on the company than what it already is. I mean, for example, if I can go back to it, find it here for a moment. Hold on. All right, here it is right here, guys. Here it is right here. It says, this is what Alex put down. This is what Alex puts down. It's right here. He states, lots of talk of the AEW All-Out Brawl investigation being over. However, Dave Meltzer is expecting Tony Khan to never address it with the public. Well, he puts it, however, Dave Meltzer is not expecting Tony Khan to ever. Oh, that's what he meant. Let me reread that. It's early, guys. I just woke up a little bit ago, so I do apologize. But this is what he says, and I quote, this is from Alex's World's Facebook page. He states, lots of talk of the AEW All-Out Brawl investigation being over. However, Dave Meltzer is not expecting Tony Khan to ever address it with the public. Now, that's the report from Meltzer. Again, Meltzer is close to the Elite. And this is Alex's response. Alex's response is like all of us, when we hear something like this or read about it. And that is, I hope that's not the case. If CM Punk is gone, or if he's staying, the audience should know about it. Full transparency. In other words, if CM Punk is getting bought out, or if he's going to remain with the company, but, just not be able to come back until the injuries are healed up and everything that he's currently dealing with, people need to know. They need to know yay or nay. Are you keeping the guy? Are you letting him go? What's the deal? Talk to us. That's basically what he's saying. And he's right. I mean, he's right. We all, like I said, we fans already know. We pretty much have an idea of what happened, with the Elite, with CM Punk, when it came to that brawl. So why keep it, hidden from us? Why keep information of whether or not one of the biggest draws in your company's history, one of the guys that you swore you were going to lock down into an all-elite contract from day one, You know, why hide the fact of whether or not this guy's going to return or he isn't? I mean, you're already teasing through vignettes that, you know, Omega and the Bucks are returning. You've already teased that. So why keep this in the dark? You know, why keep this, you know, hidden from us, you know, as a fan base that has supported All Elite Wrestling, because we'd like to have that second biggest wrestling company in the country, if not the world, existing, you know, outside of WWE, and being another alternative, being another place for people to hone their craft in, whether they're established veterans, legends, or up-and-coming talent. You know, why keep from us, you know, information that we might find, you know, interesting, you know, that we might find, you know, intriguing in the long run, you know, and that we'd want to know about? Because there's a lot of us, and there's most definitely a lot of people in Chicago, in the Chicago region, that's basically CM Punk country, that are going to want to know too. I mean, again, we all know what happened. We all pretty much have an idea of what took place. So why basically would you not want us to know, especially if the investigation is no longer a thing? Why would you not want us to know, you know, what the future, you know, holds for somebody that's given you some of your biggest gates, you know, in recent memory, in your short history? You know, why would you not want us to know about, you know, his whereabouts? You know, whether or not he's going to stay with you or not, or whether or not for some odd reason, with all of us still thinking he's All Elite, all of a sudden he shows up on Monday Night Raw, and we're thinking, what's going on? You know, people basically, your fan base, you know, that has supported you, you know, occasionally and hardcore wise, like I mentioned, they deserve at least some kind of, you know, shred of an answer. You know, don't keep them in the dark, all right? Don't keep them in the dark. Because if you're not going to address the whereabouts of this guy, you know, in the near future, if the investigation is indeed over, fully over, that is, then that shows that you don't really care about anybody but yourself. And maybe that's why, you know, he's not saying anything. Maybe that's why Dave Meltzer said what he did. Because right now, all Tony Khan really is worrying about isn't just, you know, pleasing the fans or, you know, trying to maintain some kind of order behind the scenes at AEW right now. Peaceful order, that is. But the number one thing he's more concerned about is the television rights coming up next year. You see, he's more concerned about trying to get a sweet TV deal for both, you know, All Elite Wrestling and Ring of Honor Wrestling, that, you know, if he was to go out and make, you know, the announcement public of whether or not Punk will be part of, you know, one company, if not both, in the coming future, or he isn't, you know, it's going to make things be a little awkward, okay? Because, you know, because basically, well, okay, what I'm trying to say is I think this is what I think Tony Khan is doing. Like I said, he's more focused on the TV rights deals. So if he was to address the CM Punk situation of whether or not he's going to remain with the company, and he comes out and says, oh, well, he's not going to be part of us anymore, he fears that's going to hinder any progress he would have to get, you know, a new TV deal, you know, for both, you know, Ring of Honor and All Elite Wrestling. He believes if he was to address that CM Punk situation, on whether or not he will be back after his injuries are healed or he will not be back, could hinder, you know, the investigation. Because if he says, oh, he's going to be back, how much of the locker room is going to be happy to hear that and possibly want to get out of the contracts before the new TV deal is made or after the TV deal is made, so they don't have to be seen on TV or work visually on screen with this person? How many of the talent are not going to like that? And they're going to want to try to get out of the contracts because of that. And, you know, on the other side, you know, if he comes out and says, oh, he's not going to be part of the company, how much would that affect, WBD wanting to give them a good deal? So him not wanting to, mention anything publicly, in my opinion, isn't just because, he wants to try to sweep this under the rug and all that, as if it never happened, and everything. It isn't because he, is being hypocritical and wanting to, and like I said, wanting to pretend it never happened by not letting us know the whereabouts, the future of one of the people involved, with the company, or people involved in that situation that is part of the company. But he's mainly not addressing it from my perspective, my point of view, because he wants to focus more on that TV deal. And if he mentions anything about CM Punk's future, whether he's staying or he's leaving, he probably believes it's going to hinder, the deal in some form or fashion. Like if he says if he comes out and says Punk is staying, then to him, maybe the entire locker room will, not be happy and will do whatever they can to get out of the contracts. I'm just saying. Because, most of the locker room don't want him there. That being CM Punk. But, if he says he's gone, then, yeah, the locker room will be happy that Punk's no longer part of the company, but will WBD be happy because they see Punk, as one of those people that has helped given AEW some decent viewership numbers. And is one of the reasons they got behind them, in supporting the company. So, for Tony Khan to kind of keep quiet about the situation, is to basically make sure that whatever TV deal he gets locked down, is basically, signed, sealed, delivered, and then maybe he might consider talking about CM Punk in his future. That's what I think is going on. I think Tony Khan doesn't want to say anything, like I said, because if he says Punk's staying, a majority of the locker room that doesn't want him there will want to leave. And do you think Tony Khan's going to want to lose a majority of his locker room on both sides of the spectrum? Because he's telling the world right now CM Punk, Phil Brooks is staying, a guy they don't want there at all, is staying. And thus that could cause them to potentially, and maybe from a lawsuit, legal perspective, cause them to lose a lot of talent. You think he's going to like that? You think he's going to want that? No. No, he's not. So that he's not saying anything because he knows there's a good chance that legally and lawsuit-wise, he could lose a lot of talent. I mean, if Chris Jericho is coming out and saying, hey, this guy is a detriment and a cancer to the company, and he hears from Tony Khan that, yeah, I'm keeping him around. You don't think Chris Jericho is not going to have some sway on what happens? You don't think Chris Jericho is going to take this new extension that he signed with the company and use it as leverage to want to get out of his contract or to help others get out of their contract because they don't want to be in the same, zip code or area code as CM Punk? No. Do you think that's going to... Okay, what I'm trying to say, hold on for a second. Okay, I almost lost my train of thought there. Like I said, it's early. But you think that's going to prevent someone like Chris Jericho, who, as I mentioned, looks at Punk as a detriment, a cancer to the company? You don't think, who also signed a recent extension with the company, you don't think that's going to, cause Jericho to want to use that, sway that extension that he just signed with AEW in Tony Khan's face as a bit of an advantage, to the point that he could have an influence on allowing certain people that don't want to be in the same zip code as I was mentioned, and in the same area code as Punk, to help them get out of the contracts and go elsewhere? You don't think Chris Jericho would have that kind of sway? He would. He would. He would be able to find a way to help them legally get out of their deals. Because he has that much influence in and outside of the company. And, again, you think that's what Tony Khan wants? You don't think Tony Khan sees something like that potentially being, an issue that he'd have to deal with? How would he explain to the WBD executives, yeah, half my roster left because I said CM Punk was staying, and now they're going to go work for Paul Levesque in WWE and da-da-da-da. You think he wants to have to tell that to the WBD execs? Of course not. Of course not. You know, so that's why he's not saying anything. That's why he's not bringing up anything, period. It's because he doesn't want to affect his TV deal, you know, his potential new TV deal in either shape or form. And again, it goes the other way too, like I said. You know, if he comes out and says CM Punk's not returning, how much is that going to affect the kind of deal he gets? Because WBD wants to see someone like Punk on their television screens, knowing the viewership numbers he can give them. You know? So that's why, in my opinion, Tony Khan, you know, I'm just speculating on this, I could be wrong, but this is why I don't think he's saying anything right now. Because one, if he says something, you know, of the effect of he's staying, the locker room, and thanks to those that have influence, like a Jericho, maybe a Moxley or whatever, will possibly try to help those that don't want to be there to get out of the contracts legally, to go elsewhere because they don't want to be in the same vicinity as Punk. Or on the other hand, if he comes out and says that CM Punk is not staying, you know, and he is gone, you know, he's afraid that that's going to possibly affect the kind of deal he gets. So right now, he's not saying anything, in my opinion, until the deal is signed, sealed, delivered. And then I believe he might say something. That's just my opinion. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts? Do you think the reason Tony Khan doesn't want to say anything right now, if you will, is because of the fact that, you know, he believes it could affect the upcoming TV deal that he wants with the TV rights coming up in any kind of shape or form? Let me know down below in the comment section below. Like the video. Support me at Venmo at Brian-Roman-2, Cash App at BWRoses98. I could really help use the support right now, guys, on that. Also, check me out at my Patreon page at BW Roses with the $1 or $3 tier. You could also check me out at my Teespring store. Got some new merchandise there. You could just in time for the holiday season, especially if you're an MLP fan. Also, check me out at BW Roses Discussions, our favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora, where this will probably most definitely become a audio podcast version of one of the video I'm doing right now. Also, check me out at my DeviantArt page at BVW1979. And guys, live chat in the premiere and like the video. And until then, I will talk to you later. But give me your thoughts. Do you think this is the reason why Tony Khan doesn't want to say anything about Punk's future? Despite the fact the investigation being over, let me know. And until then, I will talk to you later. I got to get ready for work.